Hello and welcome back to the Judgment Podcast. My name's Nero, aka Orangeforge, because I'm a filthy rebrander. I'm joined by Hasan, aka Mildly Creative. We're joined by a little special guest today. We got James, aka the Brexit Boomer. What up, guys?
Hello,
What up,
hello. How's
boys?
it going?
So let's hope the audio isn't scuffed. but
Can always
yeah,
mess with it post production.
yeah. Where I spent 2 hours editing the first episode. That was pretty fun.
Let's go.
But yeah, oh yeah, first topic, guys. If you look in
What?
podcast stuff, I put the schedule in there if you want to look at it. So
Dudes.
this relates to the origin of our usernames, because like the intro, I guess. This is always a fun story. How do you come up with your usernames? I don't know. I'll give the floor to you.
Given I literally just have the one at the moment, because I got tired of all my cringy 12-year-old usernames. Let's not talk about my fucking email address, right? Everyone's made that really shitty Xbox username. Mine was amazing dude 296.
Hell yeah! Let's
Oh,
go.
a puff of bridge. So, like, obviously, as you're growing up, you realize that shit's cringe as fuck. And I just sort of went, okay, let's pick something that suits what I do. And given I'm a writer, I settled on Madly Creative. So, that's it. That's. And it's now my name on legitimately everything. So, if you see someone called Madly Creative in a game, it's probably me.
Nice. All right, James. I think we all know
Okay.
about yours.
Mine's a bit similar. I've had mine for a very long time now. I don't even know how long I've had it now. It's definitely at least a year and a half or maybe 2 years. It's disgusting. I think mine just came from Brexit. Clearly,
Anything politics nerds in here. It's fine.
yeah. I don't even know how I came up with it. I think. Honestly, I genuinely can't even remember.
I
All I know
think
is
we
that
were talking
Brexit was
about
going
because,
on.
like, it was during one of our conversations. I believe we came up with that. And it was when we were talking about like the super like boomer arguments for Brexit. So it's like, oh, wait, immigrants, me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
think
was
so.
something like that, right? We were having a
Gammons,
chat about
gammons,
it, and then
guys.
like we doing the fucking joke. Yeah, we did the whole gammons joke.
I mean, to be honest, it's a great name, and I have it for pretty much everything.
Oh,
The
it's
only
such a
issue that I
perfect
used to
name.
have all the time, I mean, I don't get it that much anymore, but what I used to get is that people always thought I was actually a boomer. Like, they genuinely thought I was like some old guy
We went
playing the
into
game.
games and like everyone asked like, "Oh, you actually 50? Like you're Brexit, bro. We're so cool." Woo."
People
So
take it
It's one
too
of those the
seriously.
people who don't fit like the standard gamer demographic. They usually just won't mention it at all. That's the thing, right?
yeah.
They won't fucking say like you see it with women, right? They just want like if someone's an actual girl and they play games, right? More likely than not, they just don't want to talk about it because of how cringe people are about it.
Oh yeah, they won't mention it. I mean,
It's the same with like old people who play games. Honestly, for the most part, they just won't say anything.
mm. And then my name. I'm not sure if you noticed. Very rebrand moment because Jesus, I have a problem. I started off with the username Frank One Tank a while ago because I played Team Fortress 2 and I used to exclusively like play the heavy, so like tank damage XD.
Yeah.
And then I decided, oh, I want to try out League of Legends. Oh dear, this name is taken. Transition to Zero Frank because like who's gonna have that name? And then I realized like there's no personal attachment to that username for me personally. So I was like, okay, I'll stick with Foreign Forge. It's literally my name backwards. So yeah, fun. So that's the origin of our username stuff. But I mean, oh, we forgot to like, we should do a background for James. So James is like a big boy police officer, funny leftist, XD, authoritarian. Why not? That's based.
Exactly.
Authoritarian working in the police. Yikes.
Yeah. He's a Marxist. He's literally like the Marxist Leninist. But yeah,
I don't know anymore, to be fair.
We got him
I
in
mean, I
for like
used to be.
today, this episode. Because like
Middle class homies be like, haha, communism, am I right, fellow workers?
Yeah, we got James in for this episode because he's a police officer, so we want to talk about the Plymouth shooting. We can really mention it in like the first episode because we kind of want someone to talk about the bureaucracy of the police, I guess. So James is like next best thing. Start a police officer. Uh, yeah. Uh, so I think everyone else knows our backgrounds. I'm a law student, and Hassan's like funny literature writer.
As I
We need
mentioned
more
earlier.
theorists. Right. So that's that done. I don't know why I forgot to put in the plan, but like, oh
I
well.
dropped my keyboard. We won't talk about that.
Based on red pilled. Did all the keys fall off? And it's like,
Ah,
do you have to buy a
thankfully,
new
I do
one?
look after my equipment decently well. Like, I'll do the guy thing where I'll give it like a quick once over just to make sure it isn't like boldy, and then I'll just be like, it's fine, good enough. Like,
uh, all right. So next thing, we're doing current affairs. I know Plymouth was a while back, but we couldn't really do it. But Afghanistan first, man. What a what an awful place. Like, jeez.
well, they killed that fucking dude. They executed a fucking comedian like a couple of days ago now, actually. Like that was like the whole video of him in the car, and like the Taliban is like laughing, got like puts down his pistol and whips out a high caliber gun and points it at the dude's head.
Well,
And
the
they found his body
Taliban
like
wouldn't do that.
1 or 2 days later, dude. Like shot in the head, throat slit, standard Taliban style, right?
Did you hear
Taliban
about
don't do
the
that.
news
They're a
reporter?
legitimate government.
Did you
Which
hear?
news reporter? Because there's a couple.
Well, there's this one article, I think it was a news reporter on live TV, and he was reading out the news, and you could see in the background that there was a armed Taliban fighter with his AK-47 just casually sat back there, like on camera, like
Yeah.
beautiful stuff. You know, we really love how edgy the Taliban is, especially on Twitter. We're not going to
Wasn't
mention
there
it.
an attack at the airport as well? Even though they were saying that, like, oh yeah, we're keeping it like for the foreign like side of it and then the Afghani side of it,
Oh yeah,
like
but
the
apparently that
the
was Islamic
American
State,
side of
I
it.
think.
Was that Islamic State? Apparently.
Yeah,
The
Islamic
Islamic
State
State
K.
is it the K group? Yeah.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
is
I
like
call bullshit to be honest, but
they're based out of
yeah,
Kabul. Yeah,
plausible deniability crap, isn't it?
Mm.
yeah, and it's weird because I think the BBC said that Western intelligence is giving like intel to the Taliban, which is a weird turn, especially
I'm not
considering we've
gonna
been
lie,
fighting them
it's
for like 20 years.
kind of sus, bro. It's
You
like I guess
reminded me of
the
that.
Taliban. The Taliban's meant to be securing the perimeter of the airport so we can get our civilians out. I guess, but a little bit sus that somehow a suicide bomber got through that security.
Curious.
Very curious.
We need to do like a conspiracy theory episode. That would be so good. We just get a conspiracy theory. Like I'm pretty sure James said this. Like get a conspiracy theory off like the internet. We can just make fun of it or like read it out. All right.
Yeah.
James,
No doubt.
do you want to
Yes.
give us a rundown on Plymouth?
Yeah, go on then. It's a very interesting one, really. It kind of just came out of nowhere. But when I say that, I mean this guy had like there was police intelligence on this guy,
Mm.
and we knew that he had firearms. So it's one of them things you think like it probably could have been prevented.
Yeah.
Especially like there's a lot of domestic side to it because I think the victims it was his if I'm right I think it was his mum.
Yeah, it was his mum, and then it was like a bunch of other
Yeah,
random people who were
Yeah.
nearby after he shot his
yeah.
mum.
But then I think it's like I think his ex partner as well.
Yeah.
She like he'd had a lot of domestic history with her to the
Mm.
point where like she'd rang the police like 999. The call handler had turned around and said, "Oh, it's not an emergency. Like ring 101." And apparently at this point when she was on the phone, he was strangling her. And like the call handler just turned around and said, "No, ring 101. It's not an emergency."
Well, you see this a lot with this kind of thing, dude.
Mm.
like fucking a lot of these incidents, dude, they know about what a person's been doing for ages before, and they know they're gonna do something, but they don't actually do anything about it, which I always found really weird.
Yeah.
Because you see it with a lot of these, like fucking, like hell, like a lot of these incidences that are similar, like the school shooting stuff in America.
Yeah.
They're well aware the kid has issues for like fucking weeks,
Like
months.
mental health issues. I find it weird that like
Won't do anything. Then then they're like, oh well, we came to the scene and this happened. Well, if you came earlier using the intel you already had, none of this would have happened.
I find it weird
Yeah.
as well, like how like some mainstream media linked it to like incel culture as well. Like
Well,
I'm sorry, but like
Yeah.
incel culture's been
always
around for
do. They
ages.
always look to blame it on something that's. They always look to blame it on their competition, really, right? They always blame all these, like, as many of these violent incidents as possible, in, like video games and stuff, dude, or like
Yeah,
on
this is
YouTube
like a new
videos, Twitch
excuse, I guess.
streams. They
It's the same
basically
thing in
they'll be like, "Oh, a
America.
tragedy. We can smear our competition
Yeah.
now." It's fucking disgusting, dude.
This happened in America. Did you hear about that saloon shooting, specifically targeting like Asian women? Like
Yeah,
that was
No.
ridiculous. But like again, the media linked it to like incel culture, and but
of course
like
they did,
yeah,
because you know
But
but obviously
by
it has to
they
do
doing
with
have
like
that,
no other thing. They have no other like fucking like I don't know what I was gonna say. They have no other like actual thing to do about it. They report it, and then they just look to see how they can profit from it,
yeah.
dude.
yeah,
They
like they
offer
say,
no
oh,
actual
But
help.
also,
Nothing they do
yeah.
is useful, dude.
yeah,
But also by doing that, I mean, what they do, they're literally refusing to kind of criticize and show that there's issues within society, and that's why this is happening.
yeah.
Instead,
Like
they'll blame it
They'll
on a
never
group.
criticize the state,
Yeah,
dude, because the
exactly.
state is the one that's
Yeah,
allowing them to function, dude.
it's
100%.
Which
like
I think
So
is
yeah,
really
they'll
shitty.
blame it on a group, and they'll be like, the argument is kind of like, well, no matter how good society is, we're always going to have these issues because this group is doing it. So
I just
that's
find
not the
it funny
case.
though, with like the salon shooting in the US, they said, "Oh, incel culture," blah 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 blah. But then when you look at his profile, like on anywhere, he had links to the far right, and he was going to do it anyway, and
Everyone was
race
like,
war,
again,
let's go
they had
guns.
plenty of warning signs. They just don't stop them.
Exactly.
I mean,
It,
one of
it
the
speaks to
issues.
an issue more about
Mm,
prevention, really, because I think at the moment it feels a lot like the police force in most places. Just they deal with the stuff after it's happened. They don't actually do much prevention, which
Yeah,
is what we're
mm.
always told that they're there for, right? They're there to prevent and stop crimes in progress.
I'm not
But
sure
they
if
don't
it's
do much of the first one, right?
I mean,
mm,
I guess one of the issues I completely get what you're saying. One of the issues with prevention in terms of firearms is there's a lot of people who hold certificates, but not
yeah,
everyone actually owns firearms. But
mm,
Yeah, a lot
that
of people
doesn't
get the
that doesn't
licenses that
matter.
don't
Yeah,
actually. Yeah.
but it
yeah,
doesn't matter because like so we unlike our police system, people have markers on themselves and on their addresses. So someone could
mm,
have a marker for Whiskey Echoes, like weapons, or
Yeah.
Victor India, violence, stuff like that. But people can have firearms markers on them and on their addresses, even if they only just have a license. So, say for example, like this so like my house has a
Hmm.
firearms marker on it because
Yeah.
my dad used to own shotguns and he still has a shotgun license, even though we don't actually own any firearms anymore.
mm.
Um, we still have a firearms marker. So when say for example me when we go to jobs, like a domestic or something, we'll ask for a check on the address. So and then the operator will come back and be like, "Oh yeah, we've done a check. They've actually got a marker for firearms." We don't know if that means they have firearms or if they just have a
A
ticket. You know what I mean?
license,
So
yeah,
we're going into that thinking, does he have a gun or does he just have a license? Like you don't know
yeah.
because
We
Well,
go into it.
I think in
it
that
doesn't go far enough.
particular
It just
example,
says that.
I think that makes sense though, because you
Mm,
even if you do sell some of your firearms, you could not sell some of them and put them
mm.
away and not tell anybody. Dude.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
illegal, obviously, and
Yeah,
don't do
yeah.
that, right? But there are obviously people who do that. So, like, I think that's better to for the officers to safeguard themselves there when they're unsure
mm.
whether
Mm,
someone could have an illegal firearm or not, right?
yeah. But
Because
I
most
think that
people who have illegal firearms are like they do actually originally go through the proper things.
Yeah.
Trying to
Yeah, the
pin on legally.
process.
They get to the end of the process, and then because of like I don't know mental health issues, they get told no, like you can't own firearms because of this, and this. And 90% of those people, they're not actually going to do any violent act. They just want to own a firearm because like they want to go shooting on like clay pigeons or something with the boys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So they'll just buy one illegally. It's like the fucking thing is with guns, right? The more you restrict their supply, the more people who are gonna like use them for nefarious purposes. They're not gonna go through the proper channels to begin with, right? To some degree, you are just limiting legal owners to that. Now, I'm not going to get into whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, right? Because that's entirely subjective, right?
Yeah.
How many guns is too much, right? I think we can all agree America has far too many.
Oh
yeah,
god,
that's agreeable. Like that's
Far too many. That's a very that's not very controversial, I don't think.
it's not. It really
Now,
isn't.
can
Like
you argue
America has
certain
too many
countries
guns.
have not enough? I think is the interesting thing to look at, right?
I was wondering, James, like, what do you think the repercussions could be for like the Plymouth police specifically in regard to this? Could there be like a public inquiry into it, or is there like a review process into it? Like, I'm wondering how that's gonna legally affect them.
Yeah, see, I was thinking that not just about the actual shooting itself, but like I said, that domestic element as well
Yeah.
with his ex-wife, his ex-partner, because they said pretty much immediately afterwards that the call handler who dealt with that job will not be getting any problem with that. They won't be getting any repercussions.
But that,
Which I thought
yeah,
it was too soon to say that. They literally said, "Oh, we'll look into it," and I think 2 days afterwards they said, "Yeah, they're not going to get any
To
repercussions."
be fair to the operator, right? They do deal with a lot of this, like I guess negligence from the people calling, right? A lot
Yeah.
of people will call. Like I think it's a ridiculous number, like 50-60% of the calls 999 get are actually not emergencies.
yeah.
Oh,
So you
100%.
get that sort of
Yeah.
cynicism built into you, right? You're more likely to assume that it's not a real emergency than something going down, which is not a mindset you should have if you're an emergency operator, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I completely get that, but it's like when apparently when she was on the phone on 999, he was literally strangling her. So you would have the call handler would have heard like the struggling and the shouting and stuff like that. So I completely understand that, and like I said,
Well,
yeah, a
you
lot
can
of
look
our
at it from
calls
both
aren't
ways, right?
emergencies.
Some people do like fake that shit, but in the same vein, right?
Yeah.
I think you should get a lot more training than you actually do when you're handling an emergency service. When you become an
Yeah.
emergency service operator, like
Yeah.
I don't know,
This
call
isn't
me crazy.
911 operator, is it?
Maybe take a psychology course, right?
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
so you can pick up on that kind of thing. But I don't think many of them actually do. And if they do, well, clearly that education is not good enough for them to pick out the real calls from the fake calls,
And
right?
to be fair, you do get used to it as well. It's like in my job actually on the ground when you go into stuff, you do get used to stuff that much that you will assume things before you get somewhere, or you will kind of make a judgment. So on the way to a job, I'll literally look at my colleague and we'll both be like, right, I reckon it's just going to be this. It's just going to be someone
It's
doing
human
this.
nature, man,
It's
and a
like,
lot
Yeah.
of cases
go
remain
off your past
unsolved
experience.
because of that kind of thing, right? Because you just met like. Because I've heard that keeping an open mind is probably the best way to actually solve a crime, right? That's how you're going to find out who done it, why,
But it's hard
etc.
sometimes.
But it is very hard because of human nature. You fall into old habits, dude. You'd be
I
like,
think.
oh, well, I've seen something similar, so it must be exactly like that case, right?
Yeah.
You don't connect that logical fallacy, but you'll do it anyway, right?
Yeah,
Because
because it's
it's
just human nature to
automatic.
do so.
It's automatic.
Yeah. I think if there is consequence for the operator, if it isn't covered in like a public inquiry or like a process within the police, I assume that she'll probably be sued in terms of like a lawsuit, probably negligence or something like that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope she does, dude, because, like, even if it wasn't intentional, right, you still did it.
Yeah.
yeah, even if it wasn't intentional, it's the fact that she's literally told her to hang up and ring 101. It's like
Yeah.
if it wasn't like that, I don't know. I think that oversteps the mark.
Something different, like, we would have had a different outcome rather than the shooting, right? You would have
Yeah,
been
it's a
set up, you could
causation
have maybe
element.
looked
Because at the
into
end
it,
of the
right?
day, once the actual firearms cops were notified, there was no delays there. It was like they were there immediately. So the only time that there was any kind of delay
Major
in the
delay.
motion
It's
of things was from the call handler.
yeah.
This
So
relates to
that's
like
the only
in
thing
law.
you can really criticize,
Yeah.
I'd say, because the firearms, like I said, they got there as fast as they could, and they dealt with it pretty quickly. Yeah, obviously, unfortunately, some people were killed before they got there, but if you think about it, it's like if the call handler had taken it seriously the first time, would it have been a different outcome?
Yeah, this is in
You
law
don't
where
know.
it's like, but for you know, the operator responding to the call, would she have died? And yeah,
Mm,
again, you can make your own conclusions, but the case law is kind of clear on causation.
yeah.
From a more like like a onlooker's perspective though, like I think we do got to remember though that even then this wouldn't have been a sure thing even if she had taken it seriously. What other
Mm,
things led to it, right?
Yeah.
Unless we were the ones looking into the case, there's no way to know what other factors that
Because
No.
there's a chain of causation and something might break it. We never know.
Yeah,
Like we weren't there
exactly.
at the when it happened, so it's up for the
No
jury to
way to tell
decide,
the
or
future.
like
Oh,
whoever's in the public inquiry to decide. I guess.
jury and the judge really are the ones
Yeah.
making the decision. So,
mm.
Mm.
but
But
I
it is
definitely think the
interesting to
operator
think
should
about that.
take some sort of responsibility for this, even if informally. Like
Oh
even
yeah.
if they're not being formally punished, morally they should like maybe step down for a little bit, or
Because that.
take a
Yeah.
training course,
I think we can
to
agree
make
that
sure that
is.
I mean, I have to say though, I've found because we had something not really related to this, but a little bit similar where the operators, the comms operators actually made a bit of an issue. They made a bit of a mistake, and they haven't
Mm.
had anything back from it either. And this is obviously over in Bolton, and
Yeah.
I thought it was a bit ridiculous. So basically, we were out and about. We heard the comms operators um, talking and whatnot, and they were like out of nowhere. They're like, "Oh yeah, there's a woman on the bridge, and she's jumped off." Like usually when
Oh,
we
I
get
remember hearing
yeah
about this
yeah
actually.
usually
Yeah,
when we
yeah, yeah,
usually
yeah.
when we get jobs like that, it's a case of there's someone on the bridge, we'll get there and then we'll help them out.
Mm.
Most of the time, people don't jump. Like genuinely, people don't jump. They very rarely do. 'Cause most people, it sounds horrible,
Well,
but most
I'm
people
gonna
do it
sound
because
really bad here, but
they
a
want
lot
the
of the
help.
time people do it for attention.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's I mean, that's what I was about to say. It's a bad way to say it, but it's not really any other way to describe it.
Some
It's
people
people.
do often do it for attention, right?
Mm, yeah,
They go and like make that threat under the assumption that they're not gonna jump.
yeah, yeah,
But doing so, they are putting themselves in danger, right? Because what
yeah.
if they accidentally fall while doing
And the
that? I think
problem is,
that's the bigger
yeah,
danger with
and the
them
problem
kind
is
of cases.
there are people as well who are like copycats who will copy it. So that woman who did jump within that same week, like the next week and a half or so, we probably had about 3 or 4 other people either on the same bridge or different bridges
Nearby.
up and
Yeah.
down that road. They didn't jump, but they were all on the bridge. So it's like people copy it.
They were
But what
threatening.
happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened
It's
with
an
her? So she
assumptions thing, though, isn't it? You never know if someone's genuinely gonna jump or whether they're
no,
just doing it to
no,
garner attention, right?
no.
It's
Yeah.
impossible to tell until
Yeah,
you get
but
to the scene.
9 times out of 10, I mean, so far in my experience, I've only ever had one person, I think, which was her, who
Yeah.
actually jumped. And
It's the whole assumptions thing again, yeah.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah. But the issue with this one was she jumped, and then we found out what her name was, and it
yeah,
turns out she was one of the missing people on our missing list, and
yeah.
there was actually a job in her for her in the queue, which the comms operators hadn't handed out. So there's a job in the
Oh
queue for her
god.
to go and find her and make sure she's
Yeah.
all right. The comms operators didn't hand it out. Next minute, turns out that she's on a bridge and she's jumped off and she's almost killed herself.
Yeah. So expect
So
like a negligence lawsuit for the
yeah,
comms
yeah,
operators because it's
but
their
nothing,
specifically
but
their
nothing.
like
Yeah,
Purview.
they're
Yeah.
meant to prevent that.
yeah, but the comms operators didn't get anything back on that. Bear in mind, they could have prevented it. I understand it was busy,
Yeah.
but something like that, if they'd handed that job out to someone, there's a chance that she might not have ended up there and could have actually found her beforehand.
Mm.
So it's stuff like that. So I mean, from my own experience, I can say that yes, there are times when comms operators make mistakes, but I personally haven't seen any repercussions from any of that so far.
Mm.
I think
That's
it's
not
mainly stuff.
something that as common as people would think.
It's
Definitely not,
not.
Yeah.
right?
It's not common. No. I don't know. I thought it was interesting.
I think a lot of people have this really bad negative perception of the police, like immediately there.
Mm.
Because, like, while some of their policies are, I'm gonna be honest, completely fucking stupid, right? Most
Or
of the
questionable at
individual
most. Yeah.
officers, most of the individual officers I've met have always been the nicest people in fucking world, dude.
Mm.
Sure, they're bad cops, definitely, right? Always will be.
Yeah. This is the whole ACAP thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like that doesn't mean you should just be like, die
Shouldn't
pimps,
tarnish
kill
everyone with the same
police.
brush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just find it funny
right.
in the UK how everyone's using the slogan "We should defund the police." I'm sorry, but like
Oh,
the
We
fuck.
saw
UK
what happened
police
in
is so
Chicago, guys.
underfunded. It's ridiculous. The only place that
We
needs to
already
defund the
saw
police
what
is the
happened
US.
when the police is incredibly defunded, dude.
Oh
Like it
yeah,
was
they're
fucking
so
Chicago, wasn't
understaffed at
it,
the
dude?
moment. It's ridiculous.
Well, dude, there's basically anarchy, dude. As soon as and I'm not the good
Mm.
kind, dude.
Yeah.
It just lawlessness everywhere, dude. Like, one of the people who was the most vocal about it, dude, got attacked during a press conference on like explaining why he was all for defunding the police,
I mean, it
which
doesn't
I
help
think is
that like the
incredibly ironic.
Conservatives as well have like defunded everywhere through austerity, and there's basically no youth centres, so that's why we have a spike in crime.
Mm.
I think it's actually less so that more just like because of COVID, right, and the quarantine thing. Do you remember the riots after George Floyd, dude?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
While some of it was genuine protest, right, a lot of it was just people looking for an excuse to go out and make a ruckus, really, because they've been quarantined for a long time,
Well,
Mm.
right?
it was like the Kill the Bill protest when you then had the riots in Bristol. I mean,
Yeah.
that was insane, absolutely insane. Like burning police vehicles and smashing a city police station.
Oh, that's
It's
not
just
a protest.
crazy to
that's a
see stuff
riot.
like that. It
Yeah.
is, it
But
is, and
I
I'm sorry.
understand some of the sentiment
Yeah.
behind it. Like, there's a lot of
Dissent is
power to the Home
fine,
Secretary,
right?
but like
No,
the
absolutely.
the response to it is just so like it's literally playing into their hands to pass this bill. Like, if you know what I
Mm.
mean.
Yeah.
If you riot a bill, if you riot a bill that's like there to stop to stop rioting and protested,
It's
well
an
then
excuse
you're
for
just
them to
proving
pass
the
this
point.
bill because you're just
Yeah.
proving the point that
Yeah.
yes, we need this
100%.
bill. And so I say this to people that think, yes, I'm gonna riot, burn, I'm gonna burn police vans and stuff. You're an idiot. You're literally playing
Mm.
this into the Conservatives'
You're
hands.
giving them
That's
more
yeah,
authority, dude. If your
exactly.
entire argument is I want the police to have less authority, attacking them is like the opposite way to do that.
You're
That's your
literally
goal, right?
yes.
You must genuinely have a mental deficiency if you think that makes
Oh,
sense, right?
100%.
Yeah, I'm
Makes
all
me laugh
for
as well,
peaceful
though.
protests, and I understand like some of the sentiment behind,
Hell,
I
dude,
don't
I can
like this
sometimes
bill,
understand a riot, right?
but
Occasionally, if
rioting is
there's
just
a
a
real
step too
abuse
far.
of power, right? No, if there's a real abuse of power, and like a while ago now in Spain, right, when they sent out riot police to stop a peaceful protest,
Yeah.
which then devolved into the riot where the police started throwing tear gas, right? Rioting at that point, I think, is perfectly fine, right?
Eh,
But just going out with the intent to riot, right? It is all about intent at the end of the day. If your intent during a protest is to like cause an issue, right, and start a riot, you
yeah.
are part of the problem.
I mean,
Mm.
like it is literally one of our oldest rights, like in the Magna Carta, that is our right to assembly. And yeah, I like some of the response to like kill the bill. Yes, I understand that we should have the right to assembly, but if you're just gonna go out and burn and cause criminal damage and disrupt people's lives, that's just ridiculous.
Mm.
And
There was some serious assaults as well. I mean, you look at some of the injuries on the officers. I mean, some
yeah,
of them had like broken arms and stuff like that. And what made me laugh, I think quite recently, they've a lot of these people who were involved who were smashing stuff up and assaulting police officers clearly thought, I'm going to get away with this because they didn't wear masks or anything. They were just doing it, with their faces on show. And I don't think any of them realised that they could have been caught on camera. So I think there's a few recently that got quite hefty prison sentences
mm,
just for like destroying property and for assaulting police. It's
yeah,
like, well, what do you expect to happen? They're like, oh, well, that wasn't me, and well, it clearly fucking is, isn't it, mate? So I hate people like that. It's like they think, you know, yeah, people are kicking off about a bill. A lot of the people probably weren't even there about the bill. a lot of people just see it as an opportunity to go and smash some stuff up and
Because
assault some
left-wing
players.
anarchists, and I hate
Yeah,
anarchists. They're literally
yeah,
hypocrites.
yeah. And that's one of the biggest issues with riots. Like when like you said about the ones in Spain. Then if there's a genuine reason for a riot, fair dues. But the main issue that I have with riots is it's not always about that issue. You get all the different groups getting involved,
Yeah, and
and people,
it's that group
yeah, and
mentality rather than the
people who
person.
have absolutely nothing to do with the cause you're fighting for will end up getting assaulted
And they
or having their
hijack it. Yeah.
property damaged and stuff like that. It's not really fair.
It's not fair on the people who were there peacefully protesting from
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
people gate crashing to
yeah.
ruin their reputation for
And
it.
Oh,
it's like the
we're up at
London
30
riots.
minutes.
It's like the London riots. You see all the people who owned the businesses and stuff that got smashed up. They had nothing to do with
I
the
don't feel
reason
bad
people
about a
were there.
corporation getting smashed up,
No,
right?
but like the
It's fucked up.
smaller,
The
yeah,
smaller private-owned businesses, dude. If you're
mm,
like saying that you're protesting big business, right, and you're going out of your way to like rob that local furniture store, you're a disgusting piece of shit.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Oh, we're up at 30 minutes. I think we can wrap this bit up because we still got a
Do
few
you
more
want to move
stuff to cover.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys want to choose? Do you want to talk about the Lizard lawsuit, or do you want to talk about Lauren Fox being banned from Twitter, or do you want to talk about Martin Luther
I
King in
have no
Fortnite?
idea what the Lawrence Fox thing is about, to be
No,
honest. I
actually,
haven't seen that
Oh,
actually.
really?
Do you want to go with that? No. Because
yeah.
well, I don't hang around the Twitter sphere much, if at all. Because hell, I don't even have a Twitter account, dude.
Right.
Yeah, I
So
own Twitter, but I don't really use it very much.
I just use it for newsfeed, but
Like, it's
basically
weird
what
that I do
happened
that as a
was
content creator, but I do just ignore Twitter. I just pretend it doesn't exist because I don't think it's worth engaging with that community, dude. It's just,
Mm.
I don't know. Well, I think case in point, really, here, right, with the free speech and the TOS argument that this is going to be,
this is
right?
a TOS thing, yeah.
Yeah. So
But
what happened?
I think
Run me through it.
I think just quickly get this done. We can all agree, like the terms of service thing, it makes more sense than the free speech thing, right? Because you contractually want to go on this platform. There's terms of service to use it, and you breach them. Like you agree to that, right?
To a degree, because I'm going to bring up something quite interesting,
Mm.
right? A lot of the free speech activists, right? So I mean, those people, not the people who are like going like to protect the rights, but the people who normally take it too far
Mm.
with their free speech arguments. Like, oh well, you should be able to say anything at any time, right?
Yeah.
Their argument is usually, well, because it's such a popular platform, it's where a lot of public debate happens.
Mm.
So it's like the whole thing, you can say whatever the fuck you want in a public square thing, right? They're saying it's like an online version of that.
This is bringing me
Which,
back to the human rights module last year
yeah,
and more. This is
yeah.
so fun.
I
But
kind of see where they would come from with the free speech argument with this, right? But, and a big but here, right?
Mm.
Huge but. We are choosing to make Twitter the public square by engaging with it, right?
yeah,
It's not, this public square is not publicly owned. It's like us all deciding we're gonna meet up on private company grounds and have our discussions there,
Mm.
right? It's like us. It's like, I don't know, 10,000 people walking onto a university campus and just going, okay, this is our public square. It makes no fucking sense.
yeah.
If you have an issue with the TOS of a private thing and claim it of a like privately owned website, and then claim that it's a public place to argue, right?
You're a moron.
You're a moron.
Mm.
Just go and pick somewhere else, right?
Right. So I've put an
I was-
article kind of talking about Lawrence Fox, but basically, we all know about the kneeling thing, right? The
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I was just
Uh,
reading through that.
Yeah. He got banned for saying, well, what's the tweet? Get kneeling fuckers on Twitter. Like,
Yeah, it's in response to Benjamin Mendy, isn't it? Because he's been charged with raping.
Again,
sexual
I have
assault.
absolutely no idea what's happened, so do you want to get me up to speed? Because I don't even know about this Benjamin Mendy thing, to be completely honest.
yeah, I only learned about through Lauren Fox. So well done, Lauren Fox. You're a real hero. No, you're not. You're an asshole. We all hate you. You're a piece of crap. And it's funny that you got beaten by a YouTuber in the London elections, I guess. So sucks to be you.
Yeah, go on, give me the rundown. Because, again, like I said, I haven't heard a word about this.
Go
Oh.
on, have a little.
I haven't
So,
really
so yeah,
covered it actually.
Benjamin Mendy is from Manchester City Football Club,
Yeah, so you suck,
and
lol.
let me have a look. He's been remanded in custody for a while actually. I think for
Yeah, it's been a little while.
rape and sexual assault. I've heard snippets of it. I've not really followed it that much, but also he's now been charged with 4 counts of rape, and he's
Yeah,
going
by the
to
CPS, yeah.
magistrate.
It's a really
court
weird
now.
thing to bring up the kneeling thing over, though, right?
Yeah,
I
there's
know.
no
has
relation
him
to it.
being a rapist got to do with the
With
rights
BLM,
thing?
yeah.
Like, what? What sort of like misstep in like your like thinking pattern leads you to that, dude? What? Where is the leap?
That's what I mean.
Well,
I
this
don't
is
There's not
Lauren
fucking see
really
Fox,
it.
any.
so
There's not really any link there, is there? I mean,
yeah.
No.
when you think about it logically, there's only possibly 2 links that you could bring from that. One, he's a footballer, and footballers at the moment have been very well known to kneel during the start of football matches. So fair enough, that's one link. The only
Yeah.
other link that you could possibly comment on would obviously be his race in relation
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
to him
Yeah,
saying
and that's
get kneeling. So
yeah.
when you look at Lawrence Fox as a person, he's not a very nice guy.
He's
And to be
scum,
honest,
let's be real.
I
He is
yeah,
scum.
yeah, I would very much,
Well, I
uh,
can't really comment on
I'd
this
very
guy.
much say that the link that he's made is the race link because he's
Yeah.
that kind of guy, and that's
Yeah,
why he's
fair
saying
enough.
it. It's a completely race
You see,
minded
I'd
comment.
understand why people would be annoyed if, like, he got kicked off of using a service like PayPal, right?
Mm.
But I don't get it if it's Twitter. There are hundreds, fucking hell, thousands of alternatives to Twitter, right?
Yeah.
If you're a journalist, your business does not revolve around Twitter.
Mm.
Twitter would be a very useful tool, one of the most useful tools if you're, a journalist type or an actor or whatever,
Yeah, for
right?
outreach, yeah.
But there are other options, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Twitter is not publicly owned, and it will probably never be publicly owned.
Because big tech, it's big tech.
That's big tech, right? You are participating in big tech under the assumption that you will follow their rules.
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe you can argue their rules are not very clear and arbitrary sometimes, which, yes, they are.
Yeah, but
I
you
don't think anyone's gonna
contractually
argue that.
agreed to join that platform, so you're contractually obliged to follow it.
Yes, exactly. Now, if they were very clearly breaking their own TOS, it'd be a bit of hypocrisy, but
Yeah.
even then, it is still a private company. They own that platform, they can literally do whatever the fuck they want with it, right?
Yeah, this is
100%.
contract law. This isn't public law.
And
Like, this is
same
about
with
a private
YouTube,
company and
why they
two
keep-
parties.
It's why they keep, like, quote unquote, suppressing the conservatives, which, while I do think
really
they are
happen.
doing a little bit, it's not they are doing it to both sides equally. They shut down plenty of far left channels.
Oh, there's
dude.
plenty of tankies getting destroyed by
Plenty of
Twitter.
far left channels, plenty of far right channels. Dude. Like, it goes both ways. It's a little pendulum, right?
Speaking
If swings too
of
far one way,
left-wing
then swing it the
Twitter,
other way.
I forgot to put this in as well, but it's funny. Did you hear about socialism is when no house?
No.
Mr. Poo Poo Piker? He got blasted on Twitter by left-wing tankies for owning a house when he lives in LA. Like, hello? It's LA, one of the most expensive, like, housing markets in the world.
What, do you want him to pay rent?
Which is what he was doing before he bought a house. Which is a
Like,
bit, you know.
To be fair, no one in America understands what socialism actually is.
Yeah, they think socialism is when no iPhone, so, you know, they're a bit stupid down there.
They're like... Now, there are plenty of American people who can actually use their brain, but it just feels like that number is so small when you have idiots like the vocal minority, basically, who come across as the majority.
No, you can't own house.
no
You cannot
idea what the fuck
contribute
it's saying.
to the capitalist system we
Yeah.
live in. Hello,
You must-
what are you
you
meant
must
to
rent
do?
for the
You're a
rest of your
left-winger,
life.
and you live in a capitalist country. What are you meant to do?
Yeah,
what, live in the woods
what are
and
they meant
forage
to
for
do?
food?
Yeah, just fuck off in the middle of the woods, right?
Exactly, and then
live
what?
off the land. dude. What the fuck? Like, come on, man.
American leftists is just really
This
special
dude,
breed of
what?
leftists.
Everyone who argues for a more conservative state, should they just fuck off and build a country in the woods somewhere, dude?
Mm.
No, you won't argue that because you fucking the rules only apply to your opponents, dude.
I found it funny, like Mr. Pike has said as well on his podcast, Fear and Molding. By the way, great podcast. Listen to it, 10 out of 10. But he said, I find it funny that people are roasting him for like owning a house, and then the people that are roasting him saying, you can't do that, that's capitalism, they have a Patreon to them selling Marxist theory books and stuff. It's so dumb. Like, it's so
It's crazy. I
hypocritical.
mean, I'm not a big fan of Piker to begin with. I actually really dislike him
Mm.
because I'd say he's a bit too fucking. I guess aggressive would be the word, right? He's very aggressive in his criticisms about people, right? Which I think doesn't really lend much credence to your arguments when you basically resort to insulting them.
Mm.
Yeah, but
And while
I'd
it's
make the
certainly
argument
hard,
Destiny does that though as well. And
yeah,
he's
yeah,
a bit,
no,
you know,
and
I don't like
dislike
Destiny.
him as well. Yeah, exactly, right. I dislike people. I dislike people who do that kind of sort of thing, like to begin with.
Mm.
But
It's
in
like
this
that
case,
old
he's
saying, though,
absolutely
isn't it?
right, dude. Like him participating in the system that is predominant and the one that works the best.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good system. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's the one that works the best.
Yeah, which is why it's the current system we have, but people are asking for change about it, and you know, it's just a bit
Yeah.
hypocritical when people say you can't contribute to capitalism.
You can't
Like, you live
participate
in a
in it
capitalist
because
society.
you have a different opinion about it.
But to be honest, though, that argument is flawed because really, when you think about it, there's not many things you can do at the moment in this society that wouldn't contribute in some way to capitalism.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do.
No.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you buy something from a shop, you get on a
That's
bus,
capitalism.
like it all goes to that cause. It's very difficult, and there's
And
not
this is
really
why I'm a
much you can do
social
to take
democrat,
away from it
because social
either.
democracy is kind of based, not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
but
Like,
even
you
even
can't-
if you even if you seclude yourself from society and you become part of a
Literally, the
traveling
only way
community.
you wouldn't be able to participate in capitalism is if you moved into the middle of the woods,
Mm,
ditched all of your gear,
and you foraged for food.
and
Hell
lived
yeah.
like spearfishing or something, dude.
Yeah, like you live in the Amazon or something.
Yeah.
You know, one of those like
But
tribes
that's,
that
I mean,
are in the Amazon.
probably the furthest thing you can do from capitalism, I'd say, is probably become part of a traveling community.
Yeah.
To be honest, because it is when you look at it, it is like a proper community thing, and it is quite left wing. Maybe not their ideology, but the actual what they're actually doing is
In
quite a
that
left
community
wing thing.
sense, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
I think
they
we
don't
can
have
wrap
much
that up, and we
outside
can all agree that like
influence.
American leftists on Twitter are a bit stupid. Well, no, the moderates are alright. There's some
just
like tankies
Americans
and stuff.
on
The
Twitter
moderates on
generally.
both sides are, for the most part, fine.
Yeah.
It's just, again, the most vocal minorities are always on the extremes.
Hmm.
Always on the extremes.
Oh, I think we all laughed at this when I sent it on Messenger and stuff. Like the Martin Luther King on Fortnite. It's just
Oh God, yeah.
Dude, like
beautiful.
the
beautiful.
H3 clip with all the people with the default dance over
The
legit
default
every
dance
single
and the
event, dude,
flossing,
that
yeah.
had me howling. Now, to Fortnite's credit, they did disable emotes for the entirety of it, right?
Oh, like after
Because
whole
some
that
people
thing,
were being
yeah.
disrespectful, but why are you putting that in a video game marketed at children who probably don't understand a damn thing about what the fuck it means?
Yeah, these kids don't know what
They probably
civil
don't know
rights
who
is.
he is.
I understand if it was on a game aimed at adults who would understand like the importance of a thing, right? And because it is the internet, people will still be disrespectful, sure,
And it'll be memed on, yeah.
but they do it understanding the consequences. Whereas a kid has no fucking idea what the fuck's going on. They're just like, oh, there's a black dude on my screen, haha, funny meme.
Let's do a floss in front of the MLK speech at the Lincoln
Yeah,
Memorial. Yeah.
like
Uh,
I don't know, man. I don't know. Some people
I just,
are
for
fucking
me
stupid.
personally, I just find it so disrespectful. Like, let's be real, Martin
Hmm.
Luther King was a very well-known like socialist, and then like it's being like monetized by Fortnite and Time magazine. It's just for me, it's just so disrespectful in that sense.
I
I
just
think it's
don't
the
really
wrong way to
understand
raise
that.
awareness. It's the
Yeah.
completely wrong way to raise awareness.
I don't really get their thinking though, because like you said, they know full well who their game is aimed at, and they know full
Yeah.
well the age range that people kind of play this game. So they know for one that they're not really gonna be out. They're not gonna change the world with this, are they? They're not
No.
gonna educate all these people. No
They're
one,
not. They're not
frankly,
educating a
no one
single person,
cares.
dude.
Yeah, frankly, no one who plays that game is going to care about that.
No.
And they also know the fact that Fortnite as a game anyway already people make a lot of memes and jokes about it.
Yeah.
So they know full well that by putting that out there, it's going to get criticized and it's going to get joked about immediately. So I don't
think the
understand why they
problem
went
is
ahead
the
with it.
media they chose to raise awareness is just going to make it seem less serious, which I
Yeah,
think is an
it does.
awful
It
way to
does.
honor his sacrifice, dude.
It does.
Mm.
It does.
Like video
It,
games
it,
is
it makes
not a
very
medium.
light of it.
Video games
Makes
just
very
Not a
light
isn't the
of
good
it.
appropriate
medium for
medium, in my
advertising
opinion,
that
to
kind
do
of
this.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like we can all agree on that. Like video games as a way to promote, like, you know,
Serious
civil rights and
topics,
stuff. It's
yeah.
very serious stuff.
Mm.
Like civil rights is just completely inappropriate.
Yeah.
No, it's a really stupid thing to do, and I really don't think they should have done it, right?
No.
Now, if Epic had done it on a game like Gears of War, a much more serious game,
Yeah.
right? I'd be perfectly happy with it. It wouldn't have bothered me half as much as it did, that with it being on Fortnite.
Or even if it was just something like you log in and you watch a 20-second clip or something and it explains the background behind it.
Yeah, like we giving players like X amount of rewards in celebration of like Martin Luther King Day or something.
Yeah.
Something
Mm.
like that to
Or,
commemorate it,
or
or not
something
like.
something on the page on the home screen where it's got his picture and you click on it and there's like a little article that they've wrote just
Yeah,
about
something
it.
like
Something like that.
man.
You don't,
Like,
but a
sure,
bloody
most of the
concert.
kids won't interact with it, right? But those few that will and understand what's going on, they'll be like, "Oh,
Mm.
okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty serious." But their method of advertising it was completely brain dead. Like you're using it as an in-game event now.
Yeah.
Oh, the PlayStation logo just plastered over MLK's face. Yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
really,
so-
really speaks to a sacrifice, doesn't
Well,
it?
well done. Well done, Epic Games. You are
Good
just
job, Fortnite. You solved world hunger by plastering Martin Luther King's face all over your fucking game.
Good
Good
job.
job, Frank Knight.
I think it's just the whole thing of all publicity is good publicity. Like Fortnite really doesn't give a fuck about how it's viewed because
Oh
as
yeah,
long
John
as more
Wick.
people see it,
John Wick. Yeah.
they
What?
don't give a
John
fuck.
Wick from Fortnite. The literal joke. These kids don't know what John Wick is. Come on. We think they're gonna watch John Wick and John Wick Chapter 2? Of course not.
Your parents ain't gonna let them to begin with, bro.
Exactly. Anyway, that was a
Nah.
fun topic.
It's a fun tangent, yeah.
Ooh. Now we've got a mini esports section, I guess. So, I revel in this section. Someone who's the biggest Fnatic fan in the universe. This is like League of Legends European Championship. Mwah.
That was a bit of a meme.
Checkers.
I gotta
Beautiful.
say, it was a bit of a meme.
So basically, what happened was Fnatic came second in the LEC. We sent a few teams home, most notoriously G2 and Rogue,
Yeah.
but we lost to Mad. There's a few reasons.
G2, I think, was completely deserved.
Yeah.
Because G2, their bans were holy shit, what the fuck, right? They legit just went, okay, let's just turn Hylissang off.
Just try, you
I don't
mean?
give
Not
a fuck
we're not turning
anyway.
him off. We're gonna try and turn him off.
Yeah, like they tried their best, didn't work, and they sort of just let everyone else on the team do their thing.
And he played one of his favorite
credits
champions. He played Pyke, and he's actually pretty decent at Pyke. And
Credit where credits due, Jankos tried his best to like gap fucking Wepo in the jungle. But his team, I feel bad for Jankos, dude. Caps played like a moron, I'm gonna be honest.
Wonder's busy playing World of Warcraft while he has a
The
pro
rest of
career
his
in
team
League.
playing League of Legends.
Actual idiot, and
dude, he was playing like he was playing World of Warcraft during the fucking event, dude. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure he alt tabbed and started raiding, bro. I think the one person I feel bad for is Jankos, for sure.
I just find it funny, Haas. Remember, like at the start of the year, we were all like, "Oh my god, what are Fnatic doing? Like, this is so dumb. Why are they moving Bwipper to jungle?" And
It's
then
like
now
I
it's
said.
like,
It's like I
this
was
is
saying for the last
hilarious.
couple of weeks. I said it last episode as well, right? Fucking a lot of this has just been Whipper learning jungle. He's not a
Mm.
bad player, but I think it was a really weird time to have him switch.
Yeah, like
If
wasn't
they'd
it
have
mid
done
split
it
as
at the
well in
back,
spring?
yeah, it was mid split. Yeah, that's the thing that confused me. If they did it at the start of the split or at the end of the last one,
Mm.
during scrims or something, even right,
I
I
mean,
would have
when did
understood.
Reckless leave Fnatic to move to G2? I can't remember when that was. Was that mid split as well?
No, no,
No,
no,
that
no,
was
no.
ages ago. No, they
A
got rid
long
of
time ago.
Self-Made. Yeah, Self-Made got kicked. He moved to Vitality. Well, he didn't get kicked. He left, quote unquote. Moved to
Well, he got he
Vitality.
got he got a better contract from Vitality,
Yeah,
so he switched.
and then they
And
moved Bwift
then
to jungle.
yeah,
Got Adam from I forgot the team's called, but it was like
Adam,
French.
dude, Adam is such an insane rookie, though, dude. His
So-
picks are fucking dumb as fuck, but
like
he
he
knows
went
what
from
he's
tier
doing.
two to like one of the best
Yeah,
orgs. Like this, it's an
dude.
achievement to be fair,
Adam's
and
been
I'll
like
never
one of
do
the
that in
most.
my
He's
entire life.
been one of the players that's impressed me the most because he just kind of came out of nowhere, right?
Yeah. Uh,
He just, they picked up like a fucking new pro league player and they sort of they just ran with them, right? They trained him up and hey, it's showing off, dude.
yeah.
Hell, he's the carry in a lot of their games. It's kind of crazy
And
actually.
like we lost to Mad, but like we can sort of touch on that because
Mad
like
is a
it's that pick in
ridiculous
the last
team,
game. But like
Nah, Mad Lions have always been like a staple team, dude.
I respect Mad Lions. They're a good team. I like.
That teamwork is insane, dude. They don't
Yeah.
have the most expensive players nor the best, but like as a team goes, they are literally unshakable. Like
Yeah.
they had a couple of bad team fights there, but they didn't let it stop them. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
They never let like a bad play stop them. They instantly move on. They don't waste time criticizing each other or anything.
Mm.
They've played with each other that long, right?
Hmm.
They know that
That's what you want the
occasionally
team.
mistakes are made, right? They're not gonna. Because, dude, we saw Reckless in G2, right? He was so pissed off. Dude.
I sent
Like,
it to like a friend who's like very into League, and he was like, I sent it saying, "This is the man of a face that regrets moving to G2." And then I got the other
yeah,
screenshot of him saying like, "Oh, I'm moving to
I joined
G2 so we
G2
can
because I
win.
wanted to
Like, I
win.
want to go to
Dude,
Worlds."
it's one of those, man. Like, G2's teamwork is dog shit. They
Mm.
need to go back to the drawing board with their team.
Which
They
is
need
what
to
they'll
make
do.
some changes, and they need to work on their teamwork. Because they're making the same mistake Cloud9 does,
Mm.
where they buy expensive players, and because of the lack of teamwork, they never get anywhere.
Which, by the way, is proven even in traditional sports that yes, you can buy like star players, but it doesn't necessarily work because there's no team synergy.
Like, dude, I'd much rather buy a fresh team of brand new diamond players, right, and train them up as a coach. Like,
This is what me and my dad
train
were
them up
saying
from the
about
bottom,
like me and my
rather
dad
than
were
just
saying
picking a
this.
bunch of solo queue challenger players and sticking them in the team because they'll have no teamwork whatsoever, right?
This is
You're
what
much
me and my
better
dad were
picking up like
saying.
an academy team or something, right?
My dad was saying this about like Man United with Ronaldo coming back. Like, how is he going to fit
Yeah.
into the team? It's like the same thing. You need
I
synergy.
know. I don't get that why they've got him back. I mean, a
I
lot
mean,
of
as a
people saying
United
like it's a waste of money.
fan, well, like in the past, but you know, I don't really watch football that much anymore. But it's like it's funny,
No,
like
neither do I.
bringing Ronaldo back. It pisses the City fans off. It's just a publicity stunt.
It
and
does,
it's
but
great.
it's one of them where it's a lot of people now are like thinking he's past his time,
Yeah,
which maybe he is, and I thought that, but then when the Euros were going on, you saw how he performed in Euros. It's like, oh, I don't know.
Honestly,
He
them
still
bringing
kind of
Ronaldo
got
on
it.
feels a lot more like a business decision, though,
yeah.
than
Mm.
publicity behind his name. It's like Faker, right?
This is the same. Yeah, this is how I treat Reckless. Yeah.
Comparative to his peers, Faker's not that like good anymore. He's not, right?
Mm.
Like we're past the days of like Faker said. Everyone's seen that clip. I go like, look at the moves, look at the plays. Faker, what was that? We've all seen that clip, right?
Mm.
He's not in the right meta, and honestly, mechanics wise, he's outclassed by plenty of players. The
Hmm.
only thing that keeps Faker relevant is his game knowledge, dude, and that's one thing I will not bemoan him, dude. His game knowledge is crazy, right?
Yeah.
And like, if you watch his solo queue games, right, which I do occasionally, and like Mid Beast does reviews of that stuff, and while his advice for the most part is dog shit for pro league players, right? They can pretty much ignore his advice. He does cover all of these fucking like
The
games,
fundamentals, yeah.
yeah, and you get to see like if you look at Faker's match history and solo queue, if he loses against a champion, he'll immediately select that champion in the next game and go through the motions. He'll relearn. Faker's not the most gifted player. He just works the hardest.
Yeah.
There are better players than him, and honestly, he'd probably be the first person to admit that. But I don't think there's any player who works harder than him, and that's the only reason he's still in T1.
Yeah.
He's been ready to retire for years, dude.
Which, by the way, kind of links to Rogue,
Just-
man.
they wouldn't know-
Rogue is
they
such a
wouldn't know that, though.
cocky
He's probably,
team. Like,
yeah.
so
No,
cocky.
Rogue did really well this split, though. I am
Yeah.
pleasantly surprised, dude.
I will quote
And-
what Rogue said, though. They said,
They're basically a
Lions-
brand new fucking team, though.
I'll
That's the
quote
thing,
what
right?
Rogue said. Rogue said, quote, I think Fnatic are going to be easy because they are the worst Mad Lions. And guess what happened to Rogue when they fought Mad Lions? They got 3-0'd.
Mhm.
Like, that's all you have to say about how cocky Rogue is as a team.
I think as though they're a team completely full of academy and young players.
Mm,
They do not have the experience that a team like Mad Lion does, right?
yeah.
And they'll never have that experience because again, Mad Lion is a team they've had the same team for multiple years now with the odd substitution, dude.
So
Right?
I guess why
Core of the
Fnatic
team is
kind of
always
works,
the
though? Because they have a rookie who can learn from Whippo because he played top. Adam plays top. And, you know,
I
there's
take
some
some pressure
synergy
off
there.
their coach.
Yeah.
Take some pressure off their coach because their coach doesn't have to focus on Adam.
Yeah,
Because
because he's
Adam's
amateur. Yeah.
he's a really gifted player, right?
Mm.
Even without Whippo giving him some tips, which he probably is, right?
But hey, at least Fnatic are going to Worlds. G2 aren't XD. I'm kidding.
For
If
now,
G2 made
for
it to Worlds, I would support them. Like, genuinely.
I wouldn't put it past them. They will most likely still be able to make it to Worlds because old spots are not taken up yet.
Yeah, and I think was it one of the teams couldn't make it, so they said they'd do a community vote or something. I'm not sure. Can't remember. But it went under those
to all-
lines.
To all C9 fans, good luck because you're not making it again this year. Fuck off.
Cloud9. Why did I buy a
make it out
Cloud9
of group-
jersey?
make it out
I
of
don't
group stage,
understand. Why did
NA.
I do that? I bought a Cloud9 jersey.
Nah,
Oh wait, it
nah,
was
nah,
Rainbow
fuck
Six, but guess what happened to their Cloud9's Rainbow Six roster? It's now dead.
Hey,
Cloud9.
listen, NA teams trying to make it out of group stage this year, yeah?
Sorry,
Trying to
Cloud9.
make
Your
it out
only
of groups.
biggest achievement as an org, Cloud9, is you won like one major on home turf in Counter Strike. That's literally it. That's your only achievement. I'm sorry, Jack. Like, you know, as an owner, you're a bit Anyway, quick thing. It sort of relates to Halo Infinite, I guess. Basically, there's a bunch of issues with Halo Infinite launching. Apparently, there's going to be no COD campaign. That's going to be fun. And
Oh, so it's immediately dog shit. That is
Yeah.
like the one thing it had over its peers.
Hey, but don't worry, guys. On the other
Campaign
hand, we're relaunching Halo Championship Series, and Fnatic's one of the orgs. Lol, like Steve. Kill me.
Oh, so it's
Uh.
gonna be like what game was it again? It's gonna be like Overwatch Pro League. It's relevant for 2 seasons, then it's dead.
Mm.
Let's go.
It wouldn't surprise me if they delayed the launch again. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, to be fair. Really
It's
wouldn't.
such a weird decision, though, dude. Like the co-op campaign thing and the Pro League stuff. Like, why?
You get mixed messagings from that, I guess, and that's why I'm not buying Halo Infinite until it's actually out.
I
Because what's the point
wouldn't
of
bother.
pre-ordering?
Like Halo 5 was dog shit anyway, right?
That's why it's never coming to
I
PC. That's why it's
don't
not in the
think-
Master Chief Collection.
I don't think Infinite's gonna be much better, to be honest. I do not have high hopes, and I'm not going to pre-order it. Hey, if Cyberpunk 2077 taught us anything, no matter how good the company is, don't pre-order
Don't
a game.
pre-order, yeah.
Because as much as I got my money's worth out of Cyberpunk 2077, and honestly, I didn't experience any of the game-breaking bugs. I had a fucking great time playing that game, right? Fuck you, PlayStation 4 players, you whiny bitches. Get a shit port, deserved.
Get a PC.
but it was not what we were promised.
Yeah.
And I'm fully aware of that. Don't pre-order games, guys. Just don't.
Speaking of games, dude, well, moving on to the next section. Games we're playing. I don't know. Who wants to start?
Let me explain to you the wonderful religion that is Genshin Impact.
Hell yeah.
And that's been my vocal addiction for like since the game launched. I am in love with that game, dude.
Oh.
It gets a lot of flack for the gacha system and it being a Breath of the Wild clone, but hey, anyone who has played it for a reasonable amount of time cannot tell me it isn't fun.
Whippo can say that he's been playing it. So
It's such a good game, man, and hats off to me here because I played Honkai Impact. I played the previous game a lot. Again, I played that game since day one, right? And hey, the business model hasn't changed at all. They're not scamming people by any means. They're like pretty generous as far as them gacha systems go. And well, their content is always brilliant, dude. Like you get the occasional bug, but nothing like awful. It's one of those games a lot of people just sleep on though. Because it only got a lot of popularity quite recently, actually, and by recently I mean a few months, dude. Because at launch, no one played it. Like people were hyped about it at the beginning, and then it's died out, and then it had sort of a weird resurgence, like 3-4 months ago, dude. When a couple of big content creators picked it up. And like, I assume you've heard that Lily Pichu is voice acting one of the characters in the game.
Wait, is she?
Yeah. It's a new one of the new characters, Saya. She's doing the voice acting for her.
Oh.
Yeah, so there were some pretty big voice actor names to begin with, but
Offline TV. Jeez, yeah, that's a big name to be fair in terms of characters.
Yeah. It's a really good game, and I definitely recommend it to everyone. We're not even sponsored, by the way, right? I definitely give it a go if you haven't already. It might not look like your vibe, but it could surprise you.
I haven't played anything in ages because I've just been working from Friday to Monday. Jeez, like, thanks Sainsbury's. I mean, to be fair, extra cash, but whatever. But I have previously played...
about that Fnatic merch, Nero.
Yeah, I bought a banner. I'm gonna hang it up in my room, and I got a new jersey and a jacket. I'm probably gonna rep into work. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's good.
I've been playing Sniper Elite 4. I don't know, fun game.
Ooh, that's a good game.
Last one I played was V3. I never. Is 4 any good?
I've got 4. I've not played it for a long
as
time,
fun
but
as the first 3 games were, I got kind of bored of. Oh, I'm gonna kill Hitler again. Cool. What is this, Wolfenstein? Like, come on, man. Come up with a different fucking plot, please.
I mean, the missions are fun. I liked the... Yeah. I can't remember now. I've only just started it.
The story is dog shit, but the game systems are incredibly fun. Like the sniper systems.
Oh, testy shot. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Well, it's just... The shot mechanic to begin with is really cool, and then they actually bring in like real sniper tactics, like if there's a plane going overhead, you gotta mask your shots with other sounds. Bullets ricochet properly, if a bit somewhat realistic.
Environmental kills, like
environmental kills. You're not limited to just a sniper like in some sniper games, dude. A lot of snipers have secondary weapons, grenades. Hell, like you just use what you find lying around, right?
What is the best secondary though? I found that the machine carbine, was it 42?
I'm biased, but my favorite is the MG MP40. That's probably my favorite.
The standard, German.
I love the sound that gun makes.
I mean, you wonder where...
For snipers, though, I always go Lee Enfield just because it's semi-auto and it's one of the quieter ones.
I'm stuck with the Springfield, but I'm thinking about if I get a few missions done, I'm thinking of switching to the Car 98 and see if it's any good.
It's a bit too slow, in my opinion, from the previous games, from what I've seen. Like, a bolt action is great because it does more damage, but you've got to deal with it being louder and slower to fire. Which
is the stereotype with every video game, that bolt actions do more damage because of the slow firing.
Well, it's like silencers reduce your range, dude. No, they fucking don't. If anything, it has the opposite effect. It increases your range because the barrel length is longer.
It's increased,
Yeah, it travels a longer time inside the mechanism, so it's propelled further, much faster. And the other thing is suppressors that make your gun silent. No,
They don't.
they're called suppressors for a
Not
reason.
silencers. Yes.
Yeah, they lessen the amount of noise a weapon makes, dude. It doesn't
John Wick.
stop it.
John Wick. John Wick. No, that's not how you do guns in real life. Like, have you seen the subway shootout? That's so dumb. I love it. It's like
Props to Keanu though. He did do all of his own stunts.
yeah, Keanu Reeves. We love Keanu Reeves.
We stand that man. We stand that man.
We stand that
He
man.
did
We
do all
stand.
of his own stunts, but like, yeah, no. The systems in Sniper Elite are
Yeah.
what make that game playable.
And then
Story is forgettable, standard World
yeah.
War II garbage.
but the
It
mechanics are
doesn't matter.
cool.
Yeah, it's got some of the best sniper mechanics I've ever seen in a game.
And then another game I've been playing is Stellaris. I've been doing an Iron Man mode. I sort of touched this with Haas, but I got bored of
Yeah.
playing Xenophobe because I want to save the galaxy and become the Galactic Emperor.
Yeah, me and Nero always tend to go for the God Emperor of an Imperium vibe whenever we play Stellaris. So you
Gotta
know,
purge the Xenos, you know what I mean? You can't
yeah,
trust the
well, we go full Warhammer
Xenophobe.
40k with that kind of thing, man. Like
Or Space Nazis, yeah. But like,
eight,
I did a
eight
different run.
Xenos, 8 Chaos, simple as. Straight
yeah.
up, man.
I've been. Are you still there, James? Jeez, he's quiet.
Yeah.
He's playing League of Legends.
I've got it. No, I've got it open. I was talking about it. I was like, "Ooh."
Is that what we're going with? You've got it open?
He's doing ARAM at the moment.
Hey, you want to play League of Legends? I've been getting pretty good at Yasuo.
I do want to play League of Legends. I'm
Yeah.
looking at it right now. I just want to play it.
I bought the Battle Pass, so I've actually currently been grinding through the quests on League of Legends. Because I got it quite late, because I got paid for doing a bit of writing for somebody quite recently. So
When
I put
Worlds
half away and
happens,
half
James,
to Riot.
When Worlds happens, expect me to spend all my money on Fnatic skins and the champions that I have the skins
Yeah,
for.
you
Don't worry about it.
Every time there's like a big tournament going on, you can buy every single Pro League skin.
So I can buy all the previous Fnatic
You can buy
skins.
all of the previous ones. on the
Oh
current one.
yeah.
Outside of competitive events, though, they're all vaulted. So you got to keep that in mind if you are going to be buying any competitive skins. Which the Riot skins team is amazing. As much as people will bitch about Riot, their skins team is their skin design is on point.
I mean, me and James play Valorant. Like
Valorant,
their
yeah.
skins
I
so
have
good.
personal complaints about some of them, but objectively, if we're
Oh.
talking about them as art, dude, the skins team is gaming. They are
Valorant
fucking...
skins. Valorant skins are.
Oh.
They hit
Well,
different.
dude, I saw the Ruined set, right? Because
The
I was
Ruination
curious
set's
when you
so
bring it up,
good.
dude.
I don't have
Ooh.
it, but like it's such a good crossover with
It
League.
fits weirdly well, and like it did tie in with the Ruination event that was going on.
Yeah,
over
League of
with
Legends. And then there's
right?
the Sentinels of the Light stuff.
Yeah,
Oh, I
I
love
was
that
part of
one.
the same event, but yeah,
Mm.
it was the two factions basically. Got the Sentinels Knight, got the Ruined King and the boys.
Oh,
And like you were saying, you could get the Blade of the Ruined King as a melee weapon, didn't you? Like,
Oh
whisk
yes, that is a massive sword. You can just stab with it. It's so good. Skins wise in Valorant, have you seen the new collection, James? I haven't had a time to talk to James in ages.
I've had a little look at it. But
I bought the butterfly knife. Like you know,
Ooh.
as a Filipino, you know, you gotta
Yeah,
butterfly
I've
knives.
I've seen
Gotta
some
stab
of the
people.
butterfly knife. That's
The
quite
animations are pretty clean and they're realistic as well. CS is like the butterfly knife animations in Counter Strike are so dog-like. Like they are so unrealistic. I just don't like them.
cool. Mm.
But you know,
Nah, the best CS knife is the fucking hot dog. It's the hot dog.
Dude, holy shit.
Wait, I'm gonna find that video. That's so stupid. Is it the nice dude? Nice knife, dude. Oh, that's a good one.
Thanks.
Oh,
I can
it's
just
just
picture
such.
it in my head.
I can't wait to edit this into like into the video. It's just like I actually like with the podcast stuff. I've actually put some videos in it, so like as background stuff.
Because I would love it if Riot Games would put a hot dog
There we go.
skin in
Found it.
for Valorant. Glizzy
Yo,
9.
nice start, dude. No. Speaking of Counter Strike, man, I don't know. I've been rewatching Pro League stuff. Like, man, Fnatic CS were like awful, but like, I don't know. I've hope, I guess. They got some British players now. Like, I'm pretty sure like British CS is notoriously known for being bad. I guess it's kind of
CS.
funny. Geez, schedule wise, what have you been playing, James? League
Yeah.
of Legends and Valorant.
Yeah, I mean, I've not actually played LoL very much recently. I started playing it again probably about 2 weeks ago
Oh,
because
Hassan's
I
been
hit my
showing me how
life.
to play Pike, and I'm like, I'm really
Yeah.
excited to
Yeah,
try
I
it
was
out.
Oh,
before the podcast started. I was walking Nero
nice.
through some of the combos. Now, I
Oh.
absolutely suck at assassins, right?
Yeah,
Mm.
but they're
While
funny.
I normally play control mages, right? So I'm
Hmm.
normally like I take the shot caller role, which some of my calls are brain dead, right? And I do make the wrong call quite a bit, and it's
Hmm.
why like I don't climb as quick as I should do sometimes in
Mm.
I
ranks
mean, to be
because
fair,
I'm too focused on other
I try
people's
and do
plays.
the Agila role in like Valorant. Like, sometimes you have to make a shot, and sometimes it isn't the right one, but like, you got to try
But
and do
the
something.
thing is, I've played against a lot of those characters, and while I'm not like cool-headed enough to pull off big combos like I see a lot of YouTubers and higher elo
Pro
players,
players.
I know the
Mm.
motions, right? I know
Hmm.
how to do them.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know when they'd be like the best to do. That's the only thing I can't teach with like
Mm.
mechanic stuff, and
In
just
terms of
doing it.
champs, James, what are you like going to try and play now? Because like I know you've been playing
Well,
Misfortune for
well,
ages. But, like
yeah,
you
this is
like
the thing.
ADC, so like
Well,
Misfortune
yeah,
is like the baseline ADC. If you know
that's
how
what I
to play
mean.
Misfortune,
I
it's
think
basic as fuck.
Misfortune was the first one I actually bought. I think,
Hmm.
and I played Draven for a very long time. Like, I just mained the hell out of Draven. I thought he was brilliant. I think I
Draven is
played.
very hard to play, and like from some of the
Yeah.
gameplay I saw of you playing it, dude, you
Mm,
don't know how to utilize this skip
no.
perfectly. And that's not me
No.
insulting you or anything. It's
Hmm.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
a
Yeah.
very difficult champion to play
Yeah.
because you've got to manage your axes, the direction of your axes,
Hmm.
I know it's cringe.
keeping your W toggled on, the directions your E can go, and Draven actually is getting quite a big buff. So you know his adoration stacks, right?
Mm,
You know how they give you extra gold when you get a
yeah.
kill.
Yeah.
Well, your ult will now execute somebody if they're below health. That is the same amount as your adoration stacks.
Oh my
So
god.
let's say if you hit them with an ult and they have 500 HP and you have 500 adoration stacks,
They're
they
dead.
insta die.
Oh my
Oh
god, that's amazing.
yes.
That's going to be a very
When's
fun
that
buff for
coming?
Draven, and it'll
Yeah.
bring it
When
like
is this coming,
what,
Haas? We want
Yeah,
we
I
want
need to
this patch
know.
now.
next patch.
Oh
This
no.
won't go through in Pro League because they'll be working on the previous
Mm.
patch.
Hmm.
But expect to see a lot more Draven in high solo queue and low solo queue.
Yes,
A lot more
yes,
people will
Yes.
be
I
playing.
Yes.
shall be
Yes.
joining.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But
I
yeah,
need
no,
to.
I played Kale for a bit on top, and then I had a
Oh,
little.
you will not have fun on KO.
Yeah, I didn't mind Kale. She was all right, and then I had a little stint in jungle. That was pretty much it.
KO's
And I,
better mid at the moment, and
yeah,
makes us to sort of prove that
yeah,
mainly because top lane is a really shit role. It is
yeah,
Hmm.
probably the worst role at the moment.
yeah.
It's one of the
But
longest lanes,
I've
and you're
kind of,
alone. You have no support.
yeah,
It's kind of
Mhm.
difficult to do. You need a good
Unless you're
jungler
a
to help
split
you.
pusher, right? You're not doing anything top lane. If you're
mm,
Hmm.
playing like champions like Akali, scalers like Kassadin, Vlad, Kale top lane, you're not getting anywhere. You have to play
mm,
bruisers. You can't even play tanks top lane anymore. It's gotten that bad, dude. The
Mord.
only
mm,
champ you
Speaking
really
of, yeah,
see,
we were gonna touch up on this. Like we
yeah,
forgot about it. But, like the Mordekaiser pick by Adam, like just didn't work because of how,
no.
in terms of how Mordekaiser's designed, it just doesn't work.
His design is all
mm,
over the place, but he does have a strong identity as a team fighter, but his ult doesn't play to that
Yeah,
identity. His ult is literally a perfect ult for a duelist, and that is the one thing he's terrible at.
yeah.
I've
You
seen
you one v
so
one
many
someone. No one can
Mordekaiser
interfere.
players in
It's
my
dumb.
games, right, who've laned against Irelia, completely shit on her in lane, right? Irelia is 4 levels down, Mord has like 4 items, she has 2. Demolished her systematically, and then they all Irelia and then they lose.
Mm.
they lose because Irelia is built for a 1v1, whereas Maud is not.
But I've heard its previous ult's better than the one that he currently has. Which is like you kill something in jungle, like not
It just
Baron,
it's either a
like
champion
Rift. Yeah.
or an epic monster excluding Baron, and it will you like use necromancy on it, raise it from the dead, and then it follows you around,
And it
kind of
does
like
damage.
Oryx
Yeah.
Maiden.
That would
It'll
have
follow
been
you
way
around,
better,
and
like
it
in terms
does
of team
damage
fights and stuff.
based
Yeah.
on either what champion you picked up. If it's Rift Herald, it's literally just Rift Herald.
Mm.
Dragon was the one that was the most powerful though, because its attack would scale off your AP.
To be fair, they could have just reworked the ult instead of the new one.
They should have just left the ult as is. The rest of the rework, I am completely fine with because Mordekaiser was a broken piece of trash. His kit was a glitchy mess, right? He was before Viego was released. He was literally known as the king of bugs, and his new ult is the cause of so many new bugs as well. They should have just left it. Ult. I don't know why they didn't. It's such a weird design flaw, and it's one of the reworks that alienated a lot of the old Mordekaiser players because their boy isn't there anymore. He's completely different to what he used to be. The reason the Pantheon reworks work so well is that his identity is the same.
Pog.
Pantheon has not changed. He does exactly the same thing. They've just updated his kit. That's why the Volibear rework works so well after they buffed him, because on release, Volibear's rework was dog shit. It made him weaker. But now that he's come into his own, he's got that same identity. He's a strong bruiser in the top lane in the jungle.
You see why I play Pantheon support, James? It's just so cancerous. Like the gank, like straight away you gank him and push and you win. It's just so
great.
funny.
I'd say the Pantheon support's a pick you'll see in like Masters Diamond Dealer. It's a lot of fun and it's really strong too because it's really good cheese. You can catch people out so well.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't know what you're doing, like, mechanically and stuff, right? You don't even know what you're doing. Like, all you gotta know is, like, 4 stacks. Get your 4 stacks up by autoing minions, tapping Q, you're not just poking at them. Point and click stun them with your W. Auto Q, E, and you take no damage as you walk away from a train.
Because Pantheon is just so funny. You can escape anything just by holding down
as long as they don't get behind you. That's what I appreciate. There is some counterplay to it. It doesn't block tower shots anymore.
Yeah.
It used to.
But also you could take damage if they're behind you. Yeah.
If they get behind you, you still take damage. Or if it's something like an ability that comes from above.
Which is why in Legends of the League I got that funny kill on the Echo, because he decided to push me. Like, I just blocked all the damage. And then I ran away, I was low HP, everyone came down bot, and then I just ganked him.
The only problem with pick, if you build him support, and the support build is you build him full assassin, and even with Pantheon as a champion, late game he's useless.
Yeah.
Because if you don't one-shot somebody with your full combo,
you lose.
You die.
Yeah.
You're dead. That's it. Because late game, if you're in a team fight, they can lock you down, wait till the E runs out, burst
and they can focus you, yeah. Which in my experience always happens as someone who's playing Pantheon support.
Well, you make people mad at Pantheon support, so they will tend to focus you anyway. Like this dude in particular, die.
Oh, God, we're at 1 hour 17, so we got final section. I put stuff I'm sort of looking forward to, but this is like in terms of films and TV and stuff. But me and Haas sort of talked about it.
Briefly, yeah.
Star Wars Visions. It's like anime studios. They're gonna do some anthology stuff for Star Wars. I know there's a comic coming out, a manga. It's gonna be like a limited edition series talking about one of the series. I think it's like a prequel. But I don't know. I'm sort of excited because it's like Star Wars. But like I don't know. I've never really watched anything anime apart from like Pokemon or something, probably. Like
I didn't even do that.
I am quite into my anime manga stuff, but honestly, the only reason I got into anime was from a breakup, so depression for the win. And well, with manga, I do look towards it for some inspiration for my own work, because while I can't draw at all, But
Yeah.
a lot of the storyline and the plot progression, character development, it is always really interesting to see.
Oh, it's like a tool that's kind of useful.
For,
Yeah.
for me, from a technical standpoint, it's really interesting to see, and as a reader as well, it is quite enjoyable.
This is why I'd say I'm kind of like George Lucas. Like George Lucas is historically known for like in the prequels, like he's awful at telling stories, like in terms of script and all that. But,
I
like
think people
in terms
just
of
have
world
this
building, he's
stigma.
very good.
People have this stigma with anime that it's all the same sort of thing, where you can
Mm.
get some very good, serious plot lines. Of course, you can get the churned out seasonal trash, but
Yeah.
that's like relative to actual TV as well. Hell, that's relative to the Marvel universe, dude. 90% of the Marvel shows and movies are dog shit. The
Mm.
only reason they
Which is why
make so
DC
much money
thrives,
is because
actually.
of budget. Dude. DC has more interesting plots, but they have no idea how to do a movie.
Yeah, this is why
And
they
they've
kind
got
of thrive in
all
like
the
animated
problems.
TV, which is where they
They,
thrive.
they should just stick with their strength, dude. Because we've all watched original Justice League, and as weird as some
Mm.
of the plot lines were, there was always more like suspense than watching a Marvel movie.
Mm.
Because with Marvel, you always know the good guy's going to win, whereas
Yeah.
with DC, that isn't necessarily the case.
I know. Yeah, Marvel TV kind of crap, I guess. But, like in terms of movies, it's all right.
Some of it's good. I
Yeah.
really liked Infinity War. Dude. Infinity War was exceptionally well crafted, dude.
Oh, this is why I know it's kind of predictable, but like I don't know.
Endgame was
Winter Soldier
trash.
for me, Captain America: Winter Soldier. This was still one of my
Winter Soldier
favorite
really.
MCU films.
No,
Personally.
I'm like, there are some very good MCU stuff, right?
Yeah.
And likewise, there are some very good Star Wars films.
Mm.
Dude.
And there's some
We all
crap
watched
ones as well.
Rogue One was amazing. What the fuck was Solo?
Yep. Solo was just I don't know what,
What
they were
was
doing.
that?
James, just be thankful you haven't watched Solo: A Star Wars.
Oh,
It's like so
yeah.
bad.
The
And then we don't
sequels
talk about
don't
the sequels.
exist.
The sequels
They
just
didn't
don't
happen.
exist.
I'm sorry. Nope.
Yep.
Not touching that can of worms.
Well, I mean, the only
Kathleen
thing I'll
Kennedy
take
is
from
a
like the sequel
fucking
trilogy
moron.
is they made Revan canon because of the source books. That's about it.
J.J.
I
Abrams
guess.
is a moron, and so is Kathleen Kennedy. I am sorry.
Mm.
They're idiots.
And that's why Dave Filoni's taking the lead on The Mandalorian, and
And hell,
he's a very good
we all saw
storyteller.
Mandalorian, right?
And John Favreau, by the way. John Favreau
Yeah.
is also like an executive producer on The Mandalorian and like Ahsoka, so that's gonna be like, and the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah.
Even with the whole Gina controversy, dude, Mandalorian was great.
Oh, such a good show. Like,
Honestly,
I
I have
still
little
haven't watched
to
it, James. We all know it. Don't worry about it. But like, I know.
Yeah, I'm tentatively excited for this anthology. I just hope they don't butcher the animation style as well, because anime is always quite hit and miss.
Yeah.
With animation, depending on how much of a budget they have, because
I think
a lot of animation studios get quite lazy. They'll CGI a lot of things once they run out of budget. Either A, because they're being lazy, or B, because they ran out of budget. Right?
There's already a few like Wikipedia like articles for like some of the Star Wars Vision stuff, and it's quite interesting. Like, I think there's one that's like, oh, this is going to be set like 3,000 years before Episode 1, and they talk about a Jedi Empire, which is going to be a weird concept because this is like canon completely being a new, fresh thing, isn't it? It's like 3,000 years before Episode 1, you had like Old Republic and stuff. That was completely different.
Old Republic was much further than that. Old Republic's like 50,000
Oh yeah,
years.
jeez.
3,000 years ago would be like Rule of Two era.
Bane, yeah, Bane.
It'd be around the time Bane was. I don't know what year specifically they're doing it. Old Republic is much older than you think.
Alright.
Because, like, legitimately, fucking... Like, well, all traces of the Rakata have basically been wiped out in the New Republic stuff, whereas a couple members of the Rakata race were pretty active around where Darth Revan was doing his thing. Like,
But they pretty much died out though, didn't they? But, like,
all of the Star Forges that Revan uses to build his army that he used to defeat the Sith and the Mandalorians in his time, they're all Rakatan technology, right?
Which has been lost to history by the time of like the Galactic Empire, I guess.
Well, look at it this way: if the Empire had access to Rakatan technology, they'd have won immediately. The Republic would have just been annihilated.
Which would have made it boring, to be fair.
They are. Well, look at it this way, right? A single piece of their device of one of their terraforming devices rebuilt itself from nothing and began terraforming a planet.
Definitely not OP.
This is one singular part that has nothing to do with the central bit of the device. It was just a bit of discarded metal.
I mean, to be fair, like in terms of like Star Wars Legends, you had like ridiculous stuff like Sun Crusher, and I kind of get why Disney got rid of some, like
Sun
axed
Crusher,
some
the
of it.
silencers, dude. Even if they were made redundant in the era of the Old Republic because of superior shielding
I
technology,
know Sun
right?
Crusher was Galactic Empire ship prototype,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
caused a
yeah,
supernova.
yeah. Like the silencers was a fleet destroyer you could put on a capital ship.
Oh,
Old Republic Star Destroyers, right?
yeah,
That was
the
used
Sith
by the
ones, yeah.
Galactic Empire. The Sith destroyers.
Hmm.
They could just go around with fleet destroyers on them.
This is
So,
why canon kind of need to reset, I guess.
They did. They
Anyway.
do tone it down quite a bit on
Yeah.
canon for good reason. A lot of the Old Republic technology is straight up insane.
I don't know why I'm getting excited for like this MCU film, but like Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Rings. I don't know. I don't know.
It's going to be dog shit from what I've seen.
Oh,
I looked at the trailer. I'm immediately disappointed.
I know.
It just seems like garbage churned out action. That's the thing. I don't see anything interesting about it.
Mm. I know. For
Again,
me personally,
I'm
I
happy,
might be.
I'm happy to be pleasantly surprised,
Yeah.
right?
It
But
seems
I
like a
don't have high
predictable
hopes.
plot, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, I'm your dad. I'm a funny mafia man.
Mm.
Gotta work for your dad, man.
Who's requesting? Who puts something in summon? I can't be asked.
It feels like a 2013 GI Joe film.
Mm.
Oh, it's Matthew.
Well, no.
Mhm.
I'm kind of busy
Right.
at the moment. Sorry about
Anything else
that.
you gotta cover, or is that everything? I think that's everything, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah, it is kind of. I don't know, but for me, Shang-Chi, I know. The thing is, the Mandarin thing, like, it felt so crap, in Iron Man. It just felt
Oh,
so
yeah.
underwhelming. Like, I just want to see what they do with the Mandarin's character. Like, you know what I mean, I guess. But
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
but knowing Marvel's history, they're gonna butcher it awfully.
Mm. Please don't.
Well,
I
we
think
all
it's-
saw the mess that was Black Widow, yeah?
Yeah. What did they do to Taskmaster? Like, they just destroyed
They
Taskmaster.
did it dirty, man.
Yeah.
It was almost as bad as Captain Marvel. Almost.
Mm.
The only redeeming factor of Captain Marvel was everything Nick Fury did.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the only thing that
the
made that
origin
movie
of the
watchable.
Avengers is a name. It's because of like, Carol Danvers' jet or whatever the hell.
They portrayed her story really badly. They just made her look like a piece of shit.
Yeah,
No,
and then it just doesn't
they
make
just made
sense when you
Carol
watch
Danvers
Infinity,
look like a
when you watch
complete
like
asshole.
Endgame. Yeah.
Because to be honest, they picked like the worst actor possible if they wanted to have like a strong heroine lead, right?
Mm.
The actress works way better in an anti-hero role to begin with, right?
Yeah.
And like again, they just butchered the story.
Mm. Anywho, I think that's the end of that. That's 1 hour
Yeah.
30, guys. That's
When I was
great.
telling you, was rambling about dumb shit.
So yeah, that
Ooh.
was Dodge the Moment episode 2. Have you enjoyed
Yeah.
this awful podcast? I'll be
yes.
surprised if we make a third episode.